Michael Bennett stood at the entrance of the restaurant, feeling a coldness that had nothing to do with the winter air outside. He watched the host shake his head one last time. There were no tables left. Not in the corner, not at the bar, and certainly not for one person. Behind him, the room was alive. Glasses clinked, laughter floated in the air, and the smell of warm food drifted toward the door. It was New Year's Eve, and the world was getting ready to celebrate. Everyone seemed to have a place to be and someone to hold. Everyone except Michael. He realized he was about to spend the biggest night of the year completely alone. He had not planned anything special, but he had not planned on being turned away either. All he wanted was a simple meal and the comfort of being around other people. Instead, he felt the door closing on him, polite but final. The host smiled professionally and turned to the next guest. Michael nodded, pretending it did not hurt. He turned toward the exit, catching his reflection in the glass doors. He saw a 42-year-old man in an expensive suit. He looked successful by every measure that society valued. Yet in that moment, he looked like a man who belonged nowhere. Above the bar, a digital clock flashed the time. The countdown had begun. Time was moving forward, with or without him. Michael took a step toward the door, ready to go back to his silent apartment. That was when he felt it. It was not a sound or a voice. It was a feeling that someone was looking right at him. Across the crowded room, through the noise and the dim lights, a woman lifted her hand. It was not a dramatic wave. It was small and clear. She was looking directly at him. Michael stopped. He looked behind him, sure that she must be waving at a friend or a family member standing in the doorway. But there was no one else. Every other person was already seated. Slowly, unsure of himself, Michael pointed to his own chest. The woman nodded. She looked calm and certain. That simple nod hit him harder than any business deal he had ever closed. A total stranger was inviting him into her space. She did not know who he was. She did not know he was a millionaire CEO. She just saw a man walking out alone, and she decided to stop it. Michael took a step toward her table. His heart was beating fast. He did not know why she was doing this, but he felt something shift inside him. He did not know it yet, but that single wave was about to change his life forever. Michael had not always felt invisible, but over the years, loneliness had become his normal. He had built his life around meetings, deadlines, and quiet hotel rooms. Being alone stopped feeling temporary and started feeling permanent. New Year's Eve just made the silence louder. He was proud of his success. He had built a massive company from nothing. People admired his focus and his discipline, but they did not see the cost. They did not see him going home to an empty house. They did not see the lack of text messages asking if he was okay. He told himself this was the price of success. But tonight, standing in that restaurant, the price felt too high. He considered calling old friends, but he knew they would be busy with their families. He did not want to be an interruption. He realized he had let his personal life fade away while he chased business goals. He took a deep breath and walked toward the woman. As he got closer, he saw she was not alone. Sitting with her were two children. A girl, who looked about 9 years old, watched him with calm eyes. A boy, maybe 6 years old, leaned forward with a bright, open expression. They did not look bored. They looked interested. The woman smiled as Michael reached the table. It was a steady, warm smile. She introduced herself as Hannah Collins and pointed to the empty chair. She did not ask him where he was going or why he was alone. She simply offered him a seat. Michael hesitated. He explained quickly that he did not have a reservation and did not want to intrude on their family time. Hannah waved his concern away. She said the restaurant was already loud and crowded, and one more person would not change that. She looked at him kindly and asked what the point was of someone spending the night alone when they did not have to. Her words were simple and practical. Before Michael could answer, the young girl spoke up. She said that everyone deserved company on New Year's Eve. The boy nodded and added that if Michael did not like sitting with them, he could leave whenever he wanted. There was no pressure, just honesty. Michael felt the tension leave his shoulders. He pulled out the chair and sat down. The noise of the restaurant seemed to fade into the background. Hannah introduced the children as Maya and Oliver. They greeted him as if this was the most natural thing in the world. For the first time that night, Michael was not a CEO. He was not a man without a reservation. He was just a person sitting down for dinner. The first few minutes were quiet but comfortable. Hannah watched the kids while giving Michael her attention. Michael answered their questions simply. He said he worked in business and traveled a lot. He left out the big titles and the money. No one pushed for more details. It felt good to just be Michael. As they talked, Michael realized how uncomfortable he felt without an agenda. He was used to controlling every conversation. Here, he had to just exist. Hannah mentioned she was a real estate agent and talked about balancing work with raising her kids. She was honest about how hard it could be, but she did not complain. Michael admired how grounded she seemed. Maya and Oliver talked freely. They interrupted each other and laughed. Michael found himself smiling and laughing with them. It felt unfamiliar but welcome. He noticed other people in the restaurant glancing at their table. To the outside world, they probably looked like a normal family having dinner. Inside, Michael felt a strange mix of happiness and sadness. He realized how much he had missed this kind of connection. When a waiter came back, Michael reached for his wallet out of habit. He wanted to pay for the meal. Hannah stopped him gently but firmly. She said the night was already planned and paid for. Michael nodded, accepting that he did not need to provide money to be welcome. He just needed to be present. As midnight got closer, the energy in the room changed. People stood up and checked their phones. Hannah gathered the kids' coats. She told Michael they were going outside to watch the fireworks and invited him to join. Outside, the air was cold and crisp. Strangers stood shoulder to shoulder, waiting for the new year. Oliver grabbed his mother's hand. Maya stood close to her side. Michael stood a little apart, not wanting to intrude, until Hannah shifted to make space for him. It was a small gesture, but it meant everything. The fireworks lit up the sky. Michael watched the children's faces instead of the lights. Their joy was pure. He felt an ache in his chest, realizing how long it had been since he felt that kind of simple happiness. When the fireworks ended, Oliver looked up at Michael. He mentioned casually that tomorrow was his birthday. He said it with quiet hope, like it was the most important news in the world. Michael smiled and wished him a happy birthday. He did not know it then, but that small comment would pull him deeper into their lives than he ever expected. The next morning, Michael sat alone with his coffee. He could not stop thinking about the night before. Usually, memories of social events faded quickly for him, but this felt different. He realized that no one had invited him anywhere in years without wanting something from him. Hannah and her kids just wanted him to be there. That afternoon, Michael showed up at Hannah's door. He carried a simple cake from a local bakery. He felt nervous, wondering if he was crossing a line. Hannah looked surprised when she opened the door, but her smile was real. The kids were excited that he remembered. They pulled him inside. The house was small and lived in, with toys on the floor and drawings on the fridge. It felt intimate. The birthday party was small, just the three of them and Michael. There were no fancy decorations, just laughter. Michael found himself sitting on the floor helping Oliver with a toy. He forgot to check his phone. He forgot about work. Time felt slow and full. Over the next few weeks, Michael found reasons to see them. He joined them for dinner, always asking first. Hannah never treated him like a burden. She was honest and open. Michael tried to be helpful. At first, he tried to do too much. He suggested expensive trips and big outings. Hannah hesitated. She reminded him gently that the kids needed stability, not excitement. Michael listened. He realized he had been trying to use money to replace presents. He started helping in smaller ways. He helped with homework. He listened to the kids tell long stories. He learned to be patient. The children started to trust him. They greeted him like a friend, not a guest. But Hannah was watching carefully. She knew how quickly attachments could form, and she wanted to protect her children. One evening, Hannah sat Michael down for a talk. It was quiet and serious. She told him that she appreciated his kindness, but things were moving too fast. She explained that Oliver and Maya had lost people before. They knew how much it hurt when adults made promises they could not keep. She told him that stability was more important than good intentions. Even kindness could be confusing if it did not have boundaries. Michael felt exposed. He realized she was right. He had been acting like he belonged without asking what that meant for the family. He admitted he did not know how to be in a family dynamic without trying to take charge. Hannah did not offer him a solution. She just wanted him to understand. Michael left that night feeling unsettled. The drive home felt long. He realized that kindness was not enough if he ignored the emotional safety of the people he was trying to help. For the next few days, Michael stayed away. He did not want to abandon them, but he needed to learn respect. He waited. It was hard. He was used to fixing things immediately, but he knew that pushing now would be wrong. Hannah noticed. She saw that he respected her request for space. That meant more to her than any gift. She told the kids Michael was busy with work. During his time away, Michael reflected on what he wanted. He realized family wasn't just about providing. It was about patience and humility. It was about staying even when you felt unsure. When he finally reached out again, he did not ask to go back to how things were. He asked if they could start differently. He told Hannah he was learning how to be present without taking over. Hannah felt a mix of relief and caution. She agreed to let him back in, but slowly. Michael returned with a new attitude. He was quieter. He listened more. He stopped trying to guess what they needed and just waited to be asked. The kids welcomed him back, but with a little less excitement and a little more calmness. That was good. It meant they were building real trust, not just reacting to novelty. External pressures appeared. Hannah's family asked questions about Michael. They were worried about his intentions. Michael understood their concern. He did not get defensive. He faced doubts from his own colleagues, too. They wondered why he was less focused on work. Michael did not explain himself. He accepted that his priorities had changed. Hannah began to see Michael differently. He wasn't trying to fill a hole in their lives anymore. He was standing beside them. She opened up to him about her own exhaustion and fears. Michael listened without trying to fix everything. A few weeks later, Hannah introduced Michael to her younger sister, Rachel. She did this for honesty. Hannah was not ready for a romantic relationship, and she did not want to keep Michael waiting in confusion. Rachel was kind and easy to talk to. Michael met her without any pressure. He enjoyed the conversation. Hannah watched them talk. She saw that Michael was the same person with Rachel as he was with her. He was steady. He wasn't chasing a feeling of belonging. He was just being himself. Driving home, Michael realized his life had grown. He hadn't lost Hannah or the kids, but he had gained a new connection with Rachel. He felt peaceful. The true turning point came quietly one afternoon. Michael was helping Maya look for a notebook when he saw an envelope in a kitchen drawer. Hannah saw it and froze. Then she explained what it was. It was a letter from the children's father, written shortly before he passed away. It was meant for the kids, but Hannah had never been able to read it to them. She was afraid of the pain it might cause. She told Michael the letter wasn't sad. It was about presence. It was about staying. She read the letter aloud. The room went still. The letter spoke of love without ownership. The father hoped his children would be surrounded by people who chose them freely. He wished for kindness to find them. Michael felt a tightness in his throat. The words described exactly what he was trying to do. It felt like destiny. Maya listened seriously. Oliver asked simple questions. Michael stayed quiet and let them have the moment. He did not try to insert himself. Hannah watched him. She saw that he honored their past. He wasn't trying to replace their father. That changed everything for her. After the letter was put away, Hannah admitted she had been afraid to let people stay. She thought protecting her kids meant keeping everyone away. Michael told her he understood. He said staying wasn't about being there forever, but about being consistent right now. He promised to keep showing up honestly. That conversation changed the energy between them. It turned a series of kind acts into a real commitment. Hannah realized she didn't have to control everything to be a good mother. Later, Hannah told Rachel about the letter and her conversation with Michael. She explained that introducing Rachel to Michael wasn't about pushing him away, but about letting relationships grow naturally. Rachel understood. As Michael left that night, he felt a deep calm. He wasn't filling a gap. He wasn't waiting to be chosen. He was already part of something real. A full year passed. It was New Year's Eve again. The scene was completely different from the year before. There was no lonely CEO standing at a restaurant door. There was no clock ticking down in an empty room. Michael was inside a warm house. It was full of familiar sounds. Hannah was in the kitchen, calm and happy. The kids drifted in and out of the room. Michael watched them with a sense of peace. He wasn't the center of attention. He helped where he was needed. He listened. The children treated him like family. They didn't ask if he was staying. They knew he was. Trust had been built over hundreds of small moments. Michael finally understood that this was what he had been missing. Not success, but belonging. Rachel arrived later with other family members. She greeted Michael with warmth. Their connection had grown slowly and gently. There was no pressure between them, just comfort and shared laughter. As midnight approached, everyone gathered together. The kids counted down loudly. The adults smiled at each other. Michael realized he wasn't thinking about work or the future. He was just there. When the new year arrived, there were no fireworks outside, just hugs inside. Hannah caught Michael's eye and smiled with gratitude. He smiled back. They didn't need to put a label on their bond. It was built on kindness and patience. Later, as the house got quiet, Michael stepped outside for a moment alone. The winter air was cold, just like the year before, but it didn't feel lonely anymore. He thought about how close he had been to walking away from that table a year ago. He had thought being alone was safer. Now, that idea felt like a distant memory. Staying had changed him more than success ever could. Michael understood now that family is not always something you were born into. It is something you grow. You grow it through small choices, honest boundaries, and the courage to stay even when you don't know what will happen next. He hadn't gained the specific things he thought he wanted a year ago. He had gained something better, a life shared with others, a future that felt open. Michael turned back toward the house, ready for whatever the new year would bring. He knew there would be challenges, but he knew he would not face them alone. And that quiet certainty was the best way to start the year.